Good afternoon, everybody. May I have your attention? Thank you all for being here. I am calling the annual meeting of Eagle Point Association to order, and I will turn the microphone over to the secretary for the calling of the roll. Ellen?
The Hanukkah representative. Good afternoon. Hello. Okay, I'm going to call the roll. Linda Rudy. Here. Jerry Silverstein. Here. Eileen Bard. Here. Ellen Rose. Here. Steve Young.
Absolutely here.
Okay, and let me just tell you, this is Millie Menelas. Did I do it right? Menelas. She's French. I thought it was Hispanic. And Ed Schweitzer. We are all here and we have a quorum.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. The next item on our agenda is the proof of the notice of mailing. And actually, let me just interrupt myself and remind anybody who speaks today to please speak into the microphone because the meeting is being recorded, but the sound only comes through if you use the microphone. But I show to all of the attendees, the board, and anybody else here that this is the proof of the notice of mailing. Moving on, we now turn to the counting of the proxies and of the members present for the purpose of establishing a quorum, and I will turn that over to Ed Schweitzer to let us know the result.
We have met quorum.
Thank you very much, and thank you to everybody both for being here as well as to those who signed their proxy and turned it in. We actually were lucky enough to know we would have a quorum before the meeting started today, so I appreciate that extra effort from everyone. The next item on our agenda is the reading and approval of minutes from the last annual election meeting. What we have done in the past, and I will ask that we do it again today, is since these minutes are now a year old and nobody really remembers what happened at that meeting, I am going to ask the secretary to please read the minutes from the meeting of December 17th, 2024. Ellen? Yes.
Linda Rudy called the meeting to order at 1:30 p.m. Quorum requirement. What? No, oh, I have 1:30, but okay. Quorum requirement met. Roll call by Linda Rudy, present were Linda Rudy, Jerry Silverstein, Eileen Bard, Ellen Rose.
I think you might be reading the wrong minutes. These are the minutes from.
17th.
Well, let's switch you over to this one.
Oh.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. They both say December 17th.
I think
All
that
right.
might be the organizational meeting.
Okay, got it. Okay, annual minutes and the organizational minutes of December 2023 were read. Judith Hockroth made a motion to accept the annual minutes and the organizational minutes of December 2023 as read. Jerry Silverstein seconded the motion. All in favor? New business. Proxies counted, quorum established. Ballots were counted. Linda Rudy read election results. Ellen Rose, Jerry Silverstein, Stephen Young. Linda thanked everyone who participated in the election and thanked the members for attending and meeting quorum. Ellen Rose made a motion to adjourn the meeting, and Eileen Bart seconded the motion. The meeting was adjourned at 1:30 p.m.
Thank you very much. I will hear a motion to accept the minutes as written. The motion is made by Eileen Bard. Will someone second? Stephen Young seconds the motion. Is there any discussion or questions before we go to vote? There being none, I call for a vote from the board of accepting the minutes of December 17th, 2024 as written. All in favor? And the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. The next item on our agenda, it's listed as the selection of ballot counters, collection of ballots, and announcement of winners. We currently have 2 people on the ballot for the election, and that being the case, I believe, Ed, or Millie, that we may dispense with the selection of ballot counters. And
Correct.
okay, thank you. And since there are only 2 candidates for 2 positions, we will also dispense with collecting ballots. And we will instead request that the secretary cast a vote for both nominees for the 2 vacant positions, the nominees being Linda Rudy and Eileen Bard. Madam Secretary?
Yes, thanks. I nominate Eileen Bard and, I don't know. I cast a vote. That's what I meant. I cast a vote for Eileen Bard and Linda Rudy to proceed on the board as we have had for several years.
Okay, thank you. So with that vote being cast, we will say that the persons elected at the annual meeting today are Linda Rudy and Eileen Bard. With that having taken place, I ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting. We have no further business on the agenda.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
And Eileen Bard seconds. All in favor? Thank you very much. The annual meeting is hereby adjourned. Now, before we move to the next phase, I will let you know that what immediately follows the annual meeting is the organizational meeting for Egret Point. Let me explain that the organizational meeting is where the new board, which actually the new board now is comprised of the same members as the current board, votes for who the officers of the board will be in the coming year, as well as selecting those who will, the 2 board members who will represent Egret Point at the master board for Coral Lakes Association. At this point in the meeting, we meet among ourselves. It's not really a secret meeting, but I will tell you that there is no participation from those who are attending the meeting that are not on the board. And if you wish to leave, there's no objection to that. I don't think that anybody here objects to you staying either, but just so you know, I'm going to go ahead and call that meeting to order. I now call to order the organizational meeting of the Board of Egret Point Association, and I will ask the secretary to call the roll.
Okay, Linda Rudy.
Here.
Jerry Silverstein. Here. Eileen Bard. Here. Ellen Rose here. Steve Young. Present. Millie Menalas. Here. And Ed Schweitzer. Okay, we are all here.
All of the officers of the new board being present, I will now hear nominations for the officers of the board. I will remind everybody that the officer positions are president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, and director. So there are actually 4 positions that get nominated, and then the remaining person is director. May I hear nominations for the position of president? Eileen? Microphone, please.
Yes, I nominate Linda Rudy for president of Egret Point.
Thank you. May I hear a second?
I second it.
Okay. Linda Rudy being nominated, are there any other nominations for the position of president? There being none, I call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay. The vote is unanimous, and as the person nominated, I accept the position as president of the board. Thank you. The next position to be nominated is the position of vice president. May I hear nominations for vice president? I will nominate Eileen Bard as vice president of the board. Do we have a second? Also. Jerry Silverstein seconds. Are there any objections? Okay. Are there any other nominations? Okay. There being none, I call for a vote of Eileen Bard in the position of Vice President of the Board. Please raise your hands if you approve. The vote is unanimous. Thank you, everybody. Eileen, will you accept?
Yes, I accept the position of Vice President.
Thank you very much. The next position that we want to fill on the board is the position of Treasurer. May I hear a nomination for the position of Treasurer? Stephen Young says.
I nominate Jerry Silverstein as treasurer.
Thank you. Is there a second? Eileen Bard seconds it. Are there any other people that are nominated for the position of treasurer? Okay. There being none, I will ask for a vote of the board for Jerry Silverstein as treasurer, if you'll raise your hands. The election is unanimous. Thank you. We have another board position to nominate for, and that position is the position of secretary. May I hear a nomination for the position of secretary? Eileen?
I nominate Ellen Rose as the secretary.
Thank you. Is there a second? Stephen Young seconds the position. Is there anyone else that wants to run for secretary? Okay, with that, let's have the vote. Please raise your hands if you accept Ellen Rose in the position of secretary, and the vote is unanimous. Thank you. So I will just make note that the remaining position is director, and Stephen Young is elected as director, but he's director. I don't know how I want to word it. So there is one more bit of business that's required by the board, and that is the selection among the board members for those who will represent Eagle Point on the master board. And what I'd like to do is allow each of us to have a say for who among the board we would like to see on the master board. Can I start at Stephen Young? Do you have anybody that you would like to put forth for the master board? Okay, so Stephen Young recommends Jerry Silverstein for the position. Ellen?
Jerry Silverstein.
Okay. Eileen?
I agree, Jerry Silverstein.
Okay.
And you were automatically on the master.
Okay. Jerry?
I guess I nominate myself and I accept the position.
Okay, so for the first position on the master board, we have nominated, and by a vote of the board, will you accept Jerry Silverstein as representative of Eagle Point on the master board? Okay, it is unanimous. Eileen states that I am automatically on the master board. I don't necessarily think that's true. However, I will let everybody know that I am currently the treasurer on the master board, and should I be appointed again in the coming year, it will give me the opportunity to continue as treasurer of the master board. And I will also say that I think Eagle Point is very well represented on the master board. And, so I think that, doing so would keep us in standing where we get really good representation on the issues that matter to us. So can I see a vote for having self-nominated myself for the master board, those who accept it? Okay, so it is unanimous. We have elected our officers. We have appointed our representatives to the master board, and we have no other items on the agenda. May I hear a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Ellen and Jerry, were you seconding?
I'll second it.
Okay, I talked him into it. So please take a vote of who's willing to adjourn the meeting at this point. The meeting is adjourned. I thank you all for coming. So the meeting is adjourned. However, for everybody that's here, this is an excellent opportunity if anybody would like to speak or make comments.
I'd like to say one.
Okay, let me let Jerry go first.
This is just an after thought. Linda, Rudy, now I know I'm biased, but I know that the entire community, I know the master board, and I know I've been on it for a lot of years. She is the best treasurer that Coral Lakes has ever had. And in the event that it was an upheaval and we didn't have her represent us on the master board, she would be there. She would be the treasurer, regardless. That's how strong they feel about her, and she does a wonderful job. And she also heads up the budget committee, which is a 3-month process, which I'm fortunate enough to be part of. But it's a lot of time, and that's all I want to say. We're very fortunate.
Well, thank you. Not necessary, but thank you. Is there anybody who is here attending that would like to have the microphone? And yes, go ahead, Stephen.
Yes, the dead foxtail palm has been removed, and the replacement should be installed this week.
Awesome, thank you.
Stephen, why was it removed?
It was hit by lightning.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know that. I wasn't here.
Yeah, actually, I'll clarify that having had something happen to it, we were happy that what happened was it was hit by lightning, because if it was struck down by disease, we wouldn't be able to replace it. You know, the other palms that are missing at the end of the block were diseased, and they won't plant anything else in the dirt in those spaces. But because this was hit by lightning, it can be replaced, and, so we've approved it for replacement. Jerry?
Even though the meeting is adjourned, and I know that the budget wasn't on it, so I'm not going to cover the budget, but I think I'd like to give you a positive note. Even that next month, we're already in the next new year, and you'll get the final budget for '25. But as of this moment, we're within $1,000 of hitting the budget. So that's something that everybody ought to feel real good about. I do, and I think the board does. So that's all I want to say. Leave you on a high note. And that's right off the press.
I'm going to say, Gail, you'll be next. I'm just going to say one thing. It is minus. We're over budget by $1,000 at the end of November, but that's only 11/12ths of our annual budget. When the 12th comes in, we actually do not anticipate ending the year in the negative. Our target is always to end it at zero so that we collect as much money as we spend, but we suspect that there will be some residual funds at the end of the year. Gail, if you don't mind coming up and taking a microphone, you'll both be on camera and be heard on the recording. Everybody, this is Gail Hirschenfang. She is a multi-year resident of Egret Point, but you may not all know her because she and her husband are seasonal.
Hi, thank you very much. Actually, before I ask my question, what happens if there's a surplus?
If there's a surplus, it runs into retained earnings. If retained earnings becomes, let's call it over heavy, in future years we can allocate funds from retained earnings to reduce the amount of assessment that we pay in homeowners' dues. The last time that was done was probably about 6 years ago.
Okay, thank you. My question was, and this is probably a better question for the master board, but has there been any discussion about installing an electric car charger, like maybe here, for the whole area?
There has been discussion of it, but what has ended up is that the result of the discussion was that the people that are in homeowners associations and in homes have tended to put the charger in at their own expense in their home so that it's available to them. In the condo section of things, and I don't know if Ed is able to speak to this better than I. Ed, can you shed additional light before I say things I may not be correct on?
Yes, so public chargers are part of the discussion with the condominiums, primarily in the the northeast section. There's some beginning stages of discussing the infrastructure needs and things of that nature going forward. It's not imminent. I would imagine the first, I'd say 2 years off, as far as a public access.
Well, let's hope we have the same technology.
Well, there are a number of units in the community that have installed their own, personal ones, which is a lot harder, obviously, in the condos versus what you've done, what you'll do in your personal home.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you,
ma'am.
Gail. Ellen, would you like to come up and just use the microphone?
I could lend some history to that.
Okay, hold on, everybody. And Gail, Ellen has some history to lend.
History. There was many years ago that came up at the master board, and one of the people, I believe it was Coral Cove, was given permission to install a charger, and they did so at their expense. And I'm going back several years ago, at least. Where it stands today, I don't know. I know in the HOAs, it's like you said, it can be done in your own home. But if they're going to install more, that's up to. But I know one person put it in at their own expense with the permission of the master board and also Coral Cove at that point.
Let me add to that, El, while you're there. Yes, and that discussion is still going on with the condos primarily, because that's where the masses live. And as Ed said, they haven't really moved too rapidly on that. It could be another, what'd you say, approximately 2 years. So that's where it stands. That's the latest update. And
Thank you. Anyone else that I can Okay, Eileen?
Yeah, I just want to bring you up to date a little bit on our pool parties and what I'm looking forward to in the future. Our next pool party will be social hour. Will be on.
Excuse me, I'm just saying social hour because you don't want to come in a bathing suit. You'd be the only one in a bathing suit.
Well, that's permitted too. On January the 4th, we're going to have our pizza party, which in the past has been very successful. We're just going to ask for $5 per person. And with that, if you could provide your own drink, but we will have dessert and garlic rolls and at least 2 pieces of pizza per person. So it's a real bargain. We'll probably reduce the time maybe. I haven't finalized it with Linda, but it'll probably be, well, it's normally 4 to 6, so that's probably what it'll be. And then looking ahead, I'm looking at our annual party that we have once a year, sometime in March. In February, it was brought to my attention that Jack's, I don't know how many of you are familiar with Jack's restaurant, but they have a food truck that's going around to all of the communities, and they offer what they call bites. So I have not met with them, but that's on my agenda to meet with the owner of Jack's and see if they can provide that for us at our February social. So just to keep you a little bit informed that we have a lot of exciting things planned, and I would like to see as many of you as possible come out and join us. Thank you.
Thank you, Eileen. And thank you, everybody, for being here. We sure appreciate your time. And thank you for your confidence in re-electing us on the board. Bye now.
I
Thank you.
second that.
What happened to our annual breakfast that we used to have?
Well, our annual breakfast became a dinner, and I think that's what we're talking about. We've looked to see if we have options outside of being inside in the clubhouse. So that's part of what we're doing, but that is what we're talking about, is what we can do to make it special and different and not the same as every other year.